Thank you, thank you, thank you.
No problem, no problem. Okay, so, hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Dr. J. You are a long-time client of mine and a long-time friend of mine. So, do you remember the first job we ever did together? What was that? I don't remember. It's been so long.
It was a couple of minute video, I think either regarding decompression or something new that we were bringing to the public.
And how long was it ago? Like 15 years now?
Oh, we're 2012.
How much has changed? I mean, we're still just as handsome as we ever were, but you know, so yeah.
We get better with age.
Yeah, so tell me about what you do. You are a chiropractor,
Yes,
chiropractic. So is it chiropathy? Is it how do you say that? What's the term?
It's just chiropractic.
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 So what does that involve, and what do you do? Tell us about your business.
Well, chiropractors are primary care physicians. We're like your medical doctor. We just don't stick you with needles. We don't take anything out of you. We don't put anything in you. Mm-hmm. We don't do surgery. We don't cut you. We are spine specialists. Chiropractors are basically, we're biomechanics for the human spine.
You're what, biomechanics? Body mechanics.
Yeah, like you take your car in to get fixed once it gets banged out of shape. Mm-hmm. We do that with the spine. Unlike your car or an engine where you can tighten down the screws or replace a part when it wears out, you're stuck with what you've got. So you got to make the most of it.
Yeah.
Most people take care of their cars better than they take care of their bodies. They don't pay a whole lot of attention. They think, oh, well, it'll just heal on its own. That's where we come in. We dispel that myth that the body will heal itself, because eventually it needs some help, and we're just the ones there to give it some help.
So I was introduced to your craft, like I'm sure so many of your clients have been, because had a little problem in my back a long time ago. I was sleeping funny. I was not in a, I was sleeping not on the right surface, let's say. And so over time, I got worse and worse and worse. And I woke up one day and literally I couldn't move, dude. I was face down. I was just like, I couldn't move. And friend took me to one of your total care clinics, mm-hmm. where they manipulated and cracked me. And I felt immediate relief. Left there and got into a track on your, was it every couple of days you go back for a readjustment, and then they massage and all that stuff. And then kind of was left feeling better, and kind of felt like it was magic. Is it magic?
Yes.
It feels like it's magic.
Yes, it's magic. It's magic. It's biomechanical magic.
Okay, no, what are you, so like, all right, so you are mechanics for the body.
Yes.
What does that look like in practice?
Well, in practice, people, there are two things that I tell patients, because they ask me all the time for 30 plus years that I've been in practice. Mm-hmm. And we've whittled it down to one answer for all questions. Doc, what's causing this problem? I said, well, abuse and neglect. If you really think about it, everything can be whittled and categorized into abuse and neglect. You do something to mess it up, and then you don't fix it the right way. But I said, well, Doc, I went to my primary care. That's not what they do. You didn't take it to the right place. Well, I eat right, I exercise, and I do this. I see massage therapists. Yeah, I've been to physical therapy. Yes, but you're missing a component to it. So you're neglecting the proper solution to the problem. Now, we're not the solution to all problems, but we're the solution to most biomechanical problems, which is essentially something in your spine gets knocked out of place. It stays there because the body doesn't want to change it. Your body has to work around that problem. And our job as chiropractors is to find the problem and ascertain which technique works between us to correct the problem. And once we correct it, we fix it, we stabilize it, we turn you loose, we work ourselves out of a job, and you call me back when you do something stupid again.
I remember when I came in, you were, so you kind of have a feel around on the back, because that's where my problem was. And you were, I don't know what you were feeling, but like, you're like, was the pain on the other side of your back about 6 months ago? And so, yeah, to your point, it's like, I have a 15-year-old son, and his rucksack is stupid heavy, and he carries it like the cool kids on one shoulder, right? Yeah. And now, because I've been through it with you, I'm like, I'm like, yeah, he's gonna have like this is gonna cause a problem. This is gonna cause this problem. So I wear it with both sleeves, kind of thing. Like, what's the most common problem that you see in your patient base? You know.
The most common problem is that we spend a lot of time on our computers. We spend a lot of time on our phones. We spend a lot of time in our cars, at our desks. We don't spend a whole lot of time outdoors doing things. We're not getting sunshine. Our bodies are not getting the things that they need naturally. We've basically isolated ourselves to environments where carpet's made of formaldehyde and things are environmentally toxic, things that are affecting us and aging us more rapidly these days. Coupled with that, our diets are really not good. You know, the foods that are presented to us are mostly genetically modified. And so, whereas in the old days, 30 years ago when I started this, I could adjust somebody 3, 4, 5 times and they would feel immediately better and they would stay better. Now I'm finding it's taking longer and it's becoming harder and harder for somebody to hold their adjustment because of all of the other environmental factors. So when you say, what do I normally see? I normally see the steady degradation and the process of aging getting faster, arthritis developing faster. Coupled with that, injuries, car accidents, work injuries, slipping and falling, weekend warrior type things, you know, picking up children, you know, lifting the wrong way. All of those things add to a melange of other problems that people deal with. And then one day the body just says, time out, that's enough, I've had it. And so that's what I see. I see people that need to get their lives back. And so systematically, we have to find out what has been causing that and how do we fix it. And more to the point, how do we fix it so that this doesn't become a problem consistently in your life? You know, we engage our patients in diet and exercise. And we just say, okay, well, what is this one thing that you're doing that keeps aggravating it? And we try desperately to get them to stop doing whatever that one thing is.
Very cool. You've been doing it 30 years.
Yeah.
How did you get into it? Did it find you, or did you find it as a passion thing or an interest thing?
No, it was an accident.
Tell me about it.
I was in a car accident.
Oh, no way.
When I was in my 20s, I graduated with a degree in business management with a minor in finance from the University of New Orleans, and 1984, aging myself, and I got a job as an outside sales rep, and I spent a lot of time in the car, and one of the things happened, I got in a car accident. Well, I immediately went and saw the chiropractor because I had been under chiropractic care since I was 17. And my chiropractor did an amazing job. He adjusted my back. I went from not being able to move, like literally get off the couch at 17, to 2 days later going back to work manufacturing doors. And I'm like, well, that's pretty cool. And so my chiropractor tried to talk me into this. Well, I was in college, and I'm like, I can't pass biology. You know, I'm a business major. Fast forward 5 years, I graduate from school. I get in this accident. I've got some other physical problems. I've got headaches. I've got neck pain on a regular basis. I've got back pain on a regular basis. And I'm early 20s, right? Type A personality, you know, outside sales rep. But one thing that I had had for some time was bleeding ulcers and stomach issues. And after 3 months of getting adjusted by my chiropractor, those things disappeared. I mean, I literally went from a diet that consisted of I can only eat what's on a 3x5 card to eat whatever I wanted, and my stomach didn't bother me. So I went in one day to my chiropractor and I said, you did something to me.
What did you do?
What exactly was it? And then he explained to me what chiropractic was. And chiropractors are basically, to more modernize the conversation, we're computer programmers for the central nervous system. We're not just rack and crack guys. We're not physical therapists. We're not massage therapists. We're not really therapists anymore. We find problems in the central nervous system and we redirect energy. We correct things that are interfering with the normal transmission of mental energy from the brain to whatever part of the body that. So in my case, my stomach was being affected by some misalignments in my spine. He corrected those misalignments and the stomach problems went away magically. So you asked, is it magic? Yes and no. It's magic to the general population who has never seen or heard of anything like that. You get a bump, a boo-boo, a bruise, or this, you get sick, you get that. You go to your family doctor. Family doctor doesn't know anything about the spine. You think he might because he went to school. They don't teach them anything about the spine. They outsource that to orthopedic surgeons. Orthopedic surgeons don't really do anything conservatively to a spine. Orthopedic surgeons are there. And if you've ever been to an orthopedic, they'll tell you, I can't fix this yet, which basically means you have to wait till it gets really bad before I can do my magic on you.
Sure.
And there's a gap. And from a healthcare standpoint, we just kind of fill in that gap. If we can fix it before we get you to a point where the surgeon needs to get his hands on you, you get a better quality of life with a lot less expense and a lot less downtime and one less scar.
So our relationship, now friendship, has evolved because we've over the years you have creative ideas, marketing ideas, and I'm the people that create the content that then you then take and run. How do you communicate all of that we just covered in the last 10 minutes or so? How do you market what you do? How do you communicate that to your clients? It seems like an interesting challenge, and you've got 30 years in it. So what do you have to say about marketing?
With a sense of like aging myself and cutting my own throat, I will tell you that 3 things that your patients never want to do. They don't want to be there. They don't want to be in your office. They don't want to do anything you tell them to do. And they don't want to pay you. So it's like, if you can find a way to maneuver around those 3 things, and it has been quite a challenge to do that, while you bring quality of life back to them, that's truly a joy. But to answer your question, how do you communicate that? When you've been injured, when you hurt for a long period of time, and you've been to your doctor, and you've been to therapy, and you've been to physical therapy, and you've tried massage, and you do exercises, and you do everything you see on YouTube that basically shows you all these weird things that you can do for your back.
Dr. Google.
And and WebMD and Dr. Google, and none of it works long term. Everything will work for a day or 2, but nothing works long term. And they wind up in your office, and then you're just the next guy in line that tells them stuff. The only way you get their attention is if you're effective at fixing it. Other than that, you just become one of the useless modalities that they're used to. We've just been successful in our practice at fixing those problems.
You have enough people that have had that aha moment, like, holy cow.
Yeah, and they tell other people. But more to the point, to get the word out, you just have to be there when they need you. And so just a steady stream of, hey, remember us. Hey, remember we're here. Hey, we're over here if you need us. That's been my approach. It's never been, hey, you got to come see me real quick. You got to do this and you got to do this. You don't do anything. I do not try and convince my patients that they have to do anything. I just wait until they get it.
Sure.
I tell them, there's this thing you're doing at work. Remember we talked about that? You have to stop doing. You're training, you're 55 years old, you're almost ready to retire. And when these 30-year-old kids aren't doing the job, you can't get angry on the course of a day and go and do it for them and do it in such a way that it's fast and it's quick. And that's how you do it. Because 3 days later, you're going to be in my office. And they go, yeah, sure. And then when 3 days later they're in my office, they go, yeah, you were right, doc. And then they do it again. And the second time, I really kind of ironically and sarcastically make the point that, if you'd have done what I told you to do a year ago, we wouldn't be having this conversation. So some of it is just done by attrition, some of it is done by necessity, and some of it I just have fun with them.
What is, it just occurred to me that you must, no one wants to be in your office, right? It's one of those,
like a dentist.
Yeah, the dentist, like, it's the worst day of your life when you go to the hospital.
Yeah.
But your office, they're in pain and stuff. What have you learned about pain? And what have you learned about pain, doing what you do and helping people manage that pain? What have you learned
pain is the second greatest motivator there is. Well, some people argue it's the third, but I would argue it's the second greatest motivator, second only to fear. Pain over a span of time will alter your personality. It will alter your disposition. It will alter your demeanor. It will change the direction of your relationships with your family and friends and your employees. It changes everything. And so to not find a solution that can make the physical support the mental and the day-to-day requirements of what you need to do to work, live, and play, pain is a wonderful motivator. I try and educate my patients as to the significance of what pain actually means. And in the medical world, pain is just an aggravation that we need to get rid of. In the medical world, pain is, you got a pain? I have a pill for that. I have a lotion for that. I have a potion for that. I have a needle for that. I have a procedure for that. It's very expensive, and it's going to take some time out of your life. Mm-hmm. And you've waited this long, and you're going to deal with this. That's the medical thing for pain. In the chiropractic world and in the Eastern philosophy world, we try and find out what is the cause of the pain and address the cause of the pain, not just give you some pill, potion, lotion, or temporary fix because we know it's coming back. But, if you come back, there's a place for you to go, and you could pay them more money, and you could take more time. And the quality of your life can gradually diminish as a result of that. Chiropractic has always been the ones that have gotten people their lives back faster. We've gotten people higher quality of lives. It's very rare when you see a chiropractor who is in reasonably decent shape, that follows his own advice, that doesn't practice into his 70s and live into his 90s.
That was what I was sitting here thinking about is, you were at my house last night. You and your beautiful wife are friends with me and my beautiful wife,
yes,
aside from doing work together. And so I know you well, and I know the answer to this question, but it's worth asking, is that you practice what you preach. What are you doing right now? What are you, as perhaps the most informed person in what you do, how do you bring that into your own life? What are you doing right now as far as this holistic kind of approach to wellness?
Well, right now we're engaged and embarked on a journey following this Dr. Pompous. He graduated from the same university that I did about 7 or 8 years after I did. And he had some life experiences that were devastating physically. And he had a problem that nobody could solve. And he found the answer to it. And he created, as a result of his recovery, a detoxification program. Okay. And it is the most intense thing that I've ever gone through. Or we're likely to go through again, because I don't want to do this again. I will stay on a regimen of supplements and things that you take to help you. But we are on a serious brain detox and a body core detox, and it's a systemic thing that lasts about a year. We're 5 months into it, and it has tremendous benefits. I don't get edgy. I don't get anxious. I don't get aggravated as much. I sleep better. I eat better. I've lost weight, not even dieting, just because my system is clear. Now, a detox is not you go take a handful of Miralax or, the stuff that you use for prep for a colonoscopy and just clean yourself out. This is a systemic cleanse where first you work on your organs, you work on your liver, your lungs, your kidneys, and your pancreas, and then you get those prepared for the other stuff to come out of your body into those organs so that they can process it out. And then when you're done with the core detox of the body, then you try and detox the heavy metals out of your brain. If you have mercury fillings in your mouth, and if you mistakenly went to a doctor and had a dentist and had him remove those fillings without using certain procedures, the mercury that was once just confined to your head has gotten into your bloodstream and gone to your brain, and it will affect you in terrible, terrible ways. And they're very insidious. They're not something that you would normally associate. It's like you get angry easily, you forget, you feel like you're in your 40s and you start to get dementia because you can't remember anything. You walk into a room when you're early and you just think, well, that's just, people, that happens to people. But there's a reason. Your brain is being attacked by things you've done to it in the past. So to systematically remove those metals is very, very dangerous to do without preparation, without and I'm not even sure that we're doing it right.
How long is this detox taking?
Well, like I said, we're 5 months into it.
Okay.
And so
5 months?
Yeah, we're 5 months in.
How long does this thing take?
Well, it's supplements you take every day.
Okay.
The detox is only 3 days out of 13. So we're 3 days on, 10 days off, 3 days on, 10 days off. Also, we're doing a parasite cleanse. Everybody has parasites. If you have an animal, or if you've lived near an animal, if you lived on a farm,
The kids count?
yes, kids are parasites. Yes, kids will go. They'll get parasites. You will get them by default. Just like when they go to kindergarten and they come home, and everybody in kindergarten
The
is sick.
lurgy.
Oh, you get the lurgies. It's very.
Yeah, so you're 5 months into and how long is this process?
Well, this is kind of the end of the hardest part of it, and then it's all maintenance. So I would say we probably have another 30 to 45 days left before we either kill each other, because there are some emotional stuff that comes out during this. It's not pleasant, but those didn't start happening until we got into the brain phase, and we have what we call a coach in this program, and that coach walks you through, and you'll call and say, "We're just I'm not happy." And so they'll change the details. Okay, well, you need to go to 3 days instead of 10. We were on 7 and 7. I said, no, you can't do 7. Okay, your body and your brain is not on 7. So you do 3 on, 7 off. Now we do 3 on, 10 off. And if it gets really worse, we'll do 3 on, 20 off. But it's a very intensive thing to clean your body of toxins that you've accumulated over 6 decades.
All right, I'm going to ask you a question. You don't have to answer it, but it just occurred to me. So I have no idea what this is, what you are, like souls, spirits, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I do believe that a part of that is that we are our chemistry. And so you mentioned, as you were talking about your detox, that as you mess with that chemical balance inside your body, that you can become very emotional. It can change. Like, you have anything to say about what that is? Like, I don't know what I'm trying to ask, but you seem like the right person to ask it. Like, are we bags of chemicals?
We're much more than bags of chemicals. We are a product of all of our experiences. We're a product of our environment. We're a product of the foods that we eat and the people that we surround ourselves with.
The air that we breathe.
The air that we breathe, and the water that we drink. And, if you think of everything that you interact with on a day-to-day basis, we're a product of that. And we are synergistic, and we are adaptive. The body is adaptive. It adapts to a lot of things. And that is a great thing to be, but it is a bad thing, because being adaptive, your body will adapt to bad things, and you'll just assimilate them as part of the norm.
Yep.
And so one day you will just accumulate a lot of bad emotion. People have been through traumas, physically, emotionally. They will accumulate those. Now, you cannot separate the mind and the body. So those accumulations accumulate not only in the brain and have to be processed emotionally, but they get stuck in your tissues. And some people carry the weight of their traumas in different parts of their body. And those areas are usually chronic. And so as chiropractors and as massage therapists and Reiki and Eastern philosophy, acupuncturists, we focus more on the whole of a person, the tendency to see a human as more than just a bag of chemicals, and as an amalgam of everything that you've experienced from the time that you were conceived until the time that you die. We're energy. And so chiropractors move that energy. We tap into that energy. We find pathways to enhance the good while we try and tell the patients to start to find a way to eliminate the bad.
What is this is Good Friday 2025. What's in the future for you, near and long term?
Oh, I'm loving what I do.
Yeah.
I'm just getting warmed up. At 63, everybody's like, when are you going to retire? I said, when they close the box. I get to help people every day. I get to change their lives in ways that other people can't, because they've been a lot of other places. And when I'm fortunate enough that happens to me, there's no way you could just walk away from that and just give that up. You just do it until physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you just lack the will, the desire, or the ability to do that anymore. But I'm constantly looking for new alliances with new professionals. I'm always in search of better naturopathic doctors to do more natural things with our craft and blend that together. We're working now with a neurosurgeon and a neurology group, and stuff to bring more Western type patients to more Eastern type philosophies, in a synergistic effect, an event to benefit the patient. So what am I doing? Just more of what I've always done.
More of all of the things.
Just more of what I've always done. It's just still, I still get a kick out of seeing patients. And for a while, I was just in the management of it because, I had 5 offices to run and I had other doctors doing stuff. But the more I get back into practice, I realize I miss this too much. I'm going home.
I have the same problem that I love my craft, and the company's at a point where we're employing people, we're staffing up crews and stuff. And I'm at that point where, I don't know, man. I think I love the craft and not too much to not be involved, but at the same time, you gotta let some of that go if you want to scale. And yeah, you and I need to talk about that maybe off camera at some point.
Well, we did discuss a little bit about growing pains.
Yeah, we'll get that. But listen, man, I mean, you've been a wonderful human being to know all these years. You really did genuinely help me with that back problem, and I still think it's magic and voodoo. And when my son has his back issues, which he will unless he adjusts his behavior, I will bring him to you.
Well, we're going to fix his knees first, and once his body starts to recuperate from that, he's going to need me, and I'll be there for him.
I love you, brother.
Thank you, brother.
Thank
Love you
you
too. Thank you.